Imagine a world where your destiny, your rights, your very survival, they're all decided by a single, undeniable biological fact: the color of your blood.
Right.
If you cut your finger and it runs red, you are, well, you're nothing. You're a laborer, a conscript. You're basically just a casualty waiting to happen in a war that never, ever ends. You bleed, you struggle, and you die in the mud. That is the biological certainty of your existence.
But, and this is the massive caveat, if you cut your finger and that blood is silver, well, then you are a god. You don't just rule this world. You actively bend reality to your will. You can manipulate fire, you control water, you can harden your own skin to stone, or maybe most terrifying of all, you can actually enter the minds of others and just twist them from the inside out.
Yeah, the Silvers aren't just the elite class, they are practically an entirely different species. But here is the tension that just grabs you by the throat right in the first 20 seconds of this story. What happens when that biological certainty is completely shattered? What happens when a red girl, someone born in the mud, falls into an arena designed for absolute death, and instead of dying, she summons lightning?
That is the central question we are grappling with today. It challenges the entire foundation of the society we're about to enter with you. It asks, what happens when the natural order, the very physics of a civilization, is proven to be a complete lie?
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking a story that is just this incredible blend. It's equal parts dystopian survival, political thriller, and superpower fantasy. We are diving deep into Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard.
It is such a fascinating text to dig into because, on the surface, it really looks like your classic chosen one narrative.
Oh, yeah.
You've got the downtrodden protagonist, the sudden discovery of a hidden power, the treacherous royal court. But when you start to peel back those layers, it's actually a really brutal deconstruction of trust. It's about the lies societies tell just to maintain order and the devastating, very real cost of revolution.
Exactly. And our mission today, as we take you through this, is to track the journey of our protagonist, Mare Barrow. She is a girl who finds herself in this impossible position where she is described as being red in the head, silver in the heart.
Which is such a haunting way to put it.
It really is. We're going to explore how her specific story dismantles these massive ideas of identity and power.
And I think, perhaps most importantly for you listening, we really need to talk about the terrifying realization that serves as the core thesis of this entire world.
Yeah.
It's a line that just haunts the narrative from start to finish.
Yeah.
Anyone can betray anyone.
Oh man, that line gives me chills every single time I read it. But before we get to the betrayal, we really have to understand the world that makes that kind of betrayal necessary in the first place. Let's start with the status quo. We are in the Kingdom of Norda. What is life actually like here?
Well, Norda is it's a remarkably grim place. At least it is if you're red. The divide between the classes is stark, and it is absolute. The Reds live in places like the Stilts, which is Mare's home village. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's built on these high stilts to avoid the river flooding, but it's totally defined by scarcity.
Right.
It's muddy, it's filthy, and it just constantly smells of unwashed bodies and heavy industrial smoke.
And scarcity is almost an understatement here. We are talking about strict electricity rations. This is a detail that really stuck with me. If you want the lights on in your house, you have to pay for it with ration papers, and most people just can't. Mare talks about electricity as this humming presence in the background that they can barely ever afford to actually use.
Yeah, and that drives Mare to become a pickpocket.
Yeah.
She's not doing this for the adrenaline rush. She's doing it because her family is literally starving. Her father is disabled. He has this lung condition called the wheeze.
We're in war, right?
Exactly, from his time serving in the war. He has to breathe with the help of this crude mechanical device, so they need every single coin Mare can steal just to keep the lights on and keep some meager food on the table.
It really paints this picture of just desperate, scraping survival. Mare describes herself as having a talent for being invisible, for just slipping her hand into a pocket and taking what she needs to survive. She is incredibly cynical. She knows the world is totally rigged against her.
She has to be cynical. Because looming over all of this poverty is the constant threat of conscription. This is such a crucial piece of the world building that sets the stakes for you immediately. Norda has been at war with the neighboring Lakelanders for nearly 100 years.
100 years? I mean, just think about that. That is generational trauma baked into the society.
It really is. It started as a border dispute, and it has just turned into a relentless meat grinder. The Lakelanders want the fertile lands, Norda wants the lakes. And neither side can actually win because both sides have Silvers leading the charge and Reds just dying by the thousands in the mud. It is a stalemate paid for entirely in red blood.
And who gets sent to that grinder? Always the Reds.
Precisely. The Silvers are the officers. They're the elite commanders. They use their godlike powers to direct the battle, acting as heavy artillery or tactical support. But the Reds are the foot soldiers stuck in the trenches. When a Red turns 18, if they do not have an apprenticeship or a recognized job, they are conscripted, which is essentially a delayed death sentence.
There is this truly heartbreaking detail in the book about the earrings. Mare and her sister Gisa have this family tradition. Mare wears these earrings, and each stone in her ear represents a brother who has been sent away to the war. Mare already has 3 brothers gone: Bree, Trammy, and Shade. She literally wears their memory, their absence, on her ear every day.
It's brilliant visual storytelling because it establishes the stakes immediately. This is an abstract oppression for Mare. It is deeply personal loss. And Mare knows that when she turns 18, she is next on the list. She has no job, no apprenticeship.
Right, because stealing isn't exactly a guild-approved profession.
Exactly. She's rougher than her sister Gisa. Gisa is a highly skilled seamstress and contributes to the family that way, so she's safe from conscription. Mare contributes by stealing, so she is destined for those trenches.
So you have this looming clock ticking over her head. Tick-tock. She is almost 18. She is going to die in a muddy trench somewhere unless something drastic changes. Now, I want you to contrast that muddy, desperate, ticking clock existence with the Silvers.
It's night and day. The Silvers live in what is essentially a post-scarcity world. They are driven entirely by want, not need. They have advanced technology, unlimited electricity, luxury goods, everything the Reds are denied. They fly around in hovercrafts, wear fine silks. But what really separates them, what truly justifies this divide, is the abilities.
The powers are just wild. It's like having the X-Men running a brutal monarchy, but totally lacking the moral compass of a Professor X.
That is a perfect analogy. You have Telkies who possess telekinesis. You have strong arms with super strength, burners who manipulate fire, nymphs who control water, green words for plant life. Every high house of the Silver Elite specializes in a specific inherited ability.
And then there are the Whispers, which honestly might be the most terrifying class of all. They can read minds and completely control your actions.
It is this biological superiority that justifies their entire rule. They literally call themselves gods. And to a Red struggling in the mud, they certainly look the part. They don't just rule by the rule of law, they rule by the lens of nature. They genuinely believe they are higher on the evolutionary chain.
They don't just use these powers for the war effort, though. They use them for public entertainment. Which brings us to this horrific event called First Friday.
First Friday is a mandatory viewing event. The Reds are forced into these massive arenas to watch Silvers fight each other. It's called the Feats. Now, you might hear that and think, oh, it's like a gladiator match. But the purpose is highly specific. It is pure psychological warfare.
Right, because the Reds aren't the ones fighting in the arena, they're just the audience.
Exactly. The Silvers fight each other to put their devastating power on display. It is a calculated, visceral message to the Red population. Look at what we can do to each other. Imagine what we could do to you. It is entirely designed to keep the population terrified and submissive. The message is, we are gods, you are insects.
And Mare absolutely hates it. She sits there in the stands watching a strong arm just pummel another Silver, seeing the silver blood splash across the arena, which creates that stark visual distinction again. And she just seethes with resentment. She notes that the Silvers don't usually fight to the death in these matches, but they fight to maim. It fosters this entire culture of violence.
That simmering resentment is the fuel for everything that follows. I mean, Mare isn't a revolutionary at the start of this story. She is a survivor. She's cynical. She hates the Silvers with a passion, but she accepts the reality of her world. She actually thinks rebellion is stupid because the Silvers are so invincible.
Until the inciting incident hits.
Yes, and it all revolves around Killorn Warren.
Killorn is Mare's best friend. He's a fisherman's apprentice, so he thinks he's safe from the war because he has a recognized trade. Until suddenly, his master dies. Just like that, Killorn is unemployed, he's 18, and the conscription officers are coming for him in exactly 1 week.
This is the moment where Mare's cynical shell finally cracks. She is absolutely desperate. She refuses to let her best friend die in the trenches. She decides she needs to buy his freedom, to pay an exorbitant fee for a smuggler to get him out of Norda. But the price is astronomical for a Red from the stilts.
So she goes to a tavern to steal. She's picking pockets, moving swiftly through the dense crowd, just desperate to gather the funds, and she spots a stranger. He clearly looks well off. She tries to lift his coin purse, and he catches her red-handed.
This specific moment is the pivot point of the entire book.
Hmm.
The stranger doesn't turn her in to the security officers, which, by the way, would mean the stocks or jail or worse. Instead, he actually talks to her. He listens to her story about her conscripted brothers, about the endless war, about the sheer injustice of it all.
It's such a quiet, intimate scene compared to the massive scale of the rest of the book. Just two people sitting in a dark tavern. But the weight of it is huge. He gives her a coin, a distinct, highly valuable silver coin called a crown, and he just lets her go. He shows her actual mercy.
He sees her humanity. That is the key takeaway here. To most silvers, a red thief is literally just vermin to be crushed. But the stranger sees a terrified girl trying to protect her family.
And the next day, Mare isn't arrested. She is summoned.
Security officers show up at her house in the stilts. Her parents are terrified. Mare's is terrified. They take her to the royal palace, the Hall of the Sun. But they don't throw her in a dungeon. They hand her a uniform and give her a job.
Because it turns out the stranger in the tavern was Cal, Prince Tiberius, the direct heir to the silver throne. He pitied her. He gave her a job as a palace servant specifically so she wouldn't be conscripted.
The irony of this is just staggering. An act of genuine, heartfelt kindness from the oppressor. Cal trying to save one single red girl from the brutal system he will one day lead. That act kickstarts the chain of events that will threaten his entire reign. I mean, if he hadn't saved her, she would have gone to the war and probably died completely anonymous. Instead, he brings the spark right into the heart of his own power.
So Mare is now a servant at the palace. She's serving drinks, cleaning up, and she is immediately thrust into this major royal event called the Queen's Trial.
The Queen's Trial is essentially a high-stakes pageant. The high houses of the silver nobility bring their most powerful daughters to present them to the royal family. The goal is to be chosen as the bride for Prince Cal. But because this is a militaristic silver society, it is not about who has the prettiest dress or who plays the harp the best.
No, it is entirely about who has the deadliest power. They are in the spiral garden, this massive specialized arena, and these teenage girls are literally tearing up the floor.
It's a raw display of genetics. The king and queen want strong offspring to secure the dynasty, so they need a terrifyingly strong mother. We see girls destroying solid stone statues with telekinesis. We see another girl creating a localized, violent weather storm right there in the arena.
It's terrifying to watch. Mare describes it as a blatant display of lethality. They are auditioning to be the mother of the next generation of warlords. And Mare is watching all of this from the sidelines, carrying a tray. She is seeing the sheer, overwhelming power of the people who rule her world, and then absolute disaster strikes.
This is the exact moment the genre of the story shifts. Mare is up on a balcony or this raised viewing area serving the nobles. She slips, and she falls over the edge. She falls right into the active lightning shield.
And we need to explain this shield. It's a barrier of pure, crackling energy that protects the royals in the stands from the combatants below. Now, in this world, touching that shield is certain death, is high-voltage execution. A fragile red human body cannot withstand that energy. It is designed to incinerate threats instantly.
But she doesn't die. This is the massive aha moment of the narrative. She hits the shield, and instead of burning to ash, she absorbs the electricity. She literally pulls the deadly lightning into her own body, becomes a part of her, and then, instinctively, she blasts it back out. She creates a massive lightning storm right in the middle of the Queen's Trial.
Just imagine the dead silence in that arena afterward. You have the king, the queen, all the elite high houses, watching a red girl, a servant covered in mud and cheap cotton, wield a power that should be biologically impossible. Reds do not have powers. It totally shatters their worldview. It creates what they see as a biological heresy.
It's like seeing a fish walk out of the ocean and start reciting poetry. It just does not compute with their fundamental reality. And the king, Tiberius, and his wife, Queen Alara, they react instantly. They capture her before anyone can process what just happened.
Yeah, we really have to talk about Queen Alara. She is a whisper. She can enter and control minds. And she digs right into Mare's head right there in custody. She ruthlessly rifles through Mare's private memories to see if she's a spy, a trick, some kind of elaborate fraud.
And she finds nothing. She finds the hungry memories of a red girl from the stilts. Alara realizes Mare isn't a spy. She's not a fake. She really, truly is a red girl who somehow possesses a silver power.
So they have a massive problem on their hands, a political nightmare. They cannot kill her because far too many important people saw the miracle happen in the arena. If they execute her, it raises questions. Rumors will spread through the servant class. People will whisper, "I saw a red girl with lightning." It would give the oppressed Reds a dangerous amount of hope.
Right. But on the flip side, if they just let her go, it destroys the foundational myth of silver superiority. It proves that reds can actually be equal to silvers. If the distinction between red and silver is just the color of the blood and the blood doesn't dictate power anymore, then why on earth are the silvers in charge?
So they choose the third option, the lie. They fabricate an entirely new identity for her. They tell the court, and eventually the entire country, that she isn't Mare Barrow, a lowly red servant. No, she is Lady Marina Titanos.
The supposedly lost daughter of a deceased silver general who was raised in secret by reds. That is their cover story. Oh, she's not red, she's just a silver who got lost in the mud. Her silver parents died, and a kindly red family took her in.
It is such a brilliant, insidious piece of political propaganda. It completely co-opts the anomaly. It says to the world, see, even this bizarre miracle just proves that silvers are special. She was one of us all along. It reinforces the hierarchy rather than breaking it.
It's damage control on a staggering scale. And to seal the deal, to keep her close where they can watch her every single move, they betroth her. Not to Cal, the heir who saved her, but to the younger prince, Maven.
And this is where we really get into the deep psychological torture of the book. Because Queen Alara doesn't just ask Mare to play along with this charade. She forcefully uses her whisper power to invade Mare's mind. She suppresses Mare's memories, buries her real personality, and forcibly implants this new narrative. She tells her, you are red in the head, silver in the heart.
That specific phrase is just so haunting. Red in the head, silver in the heart. It's violently tearing her identity in two. She's stripped of her real name, her family history, and forced to play dress-up with the very monsters who oppress her family. Mare describes the sensation of Queen Alara inside her head as a profound violation. It's a sharp physical pain. She is absolutely terrified.
She knows that one single slip-up means immediate death. Not just for her, but for her disabled father, her mother, her siblings back in the stilts. She is effectively a hostage in plain sight, drooping in priceless diamonds.
Which brings us to Section 3, the Masquerade, Life at Court. Mare is desperately trying to learn royal protocol, trying not to get assassinated by jealous silver noble girls, and she is navigating this really complex relationship with the two royal princes. Let's unpack Cal and Maven, because their dynamic is so central to the ultimate tragedy of this story.
It's a classic two-brother dichotomy, but with a really sharp political twist. Cal is the soldier. He is the direct heir to the throne. He's a burner, meaning he controls fire, and he firmly represents the system. He believes in the balance. He genuinely thinks that the silver rule, while undeniably harsh, is completely necessary to keep order and fight the endless war against the Lakelanders.
But he's not a mustache-twirling villain in the traditional sense. He's incredibly dutiful. He actually wants to change things, but slowly, incrementally, from within the system. He takes Mare out to see the troops. He tries to explain the heavy burden as command to her. He is the quintessential good soldier. He genuinely believes that if the silvers fall, utter chaos and death will reign.
There is this undeniable magnetic pull between them. I mean, remember, he's the one who saved her in the tavern. But he is also, quite literally, her jailer. He represents everything she hates about this world, but she just can't help feeling drawn to his underlying humanity.
Right. And then on the other hand, you have Maven, the spare. The younger brother. He's much quieter, more withdrawn. He actually tells Mare that he is the shadow of the flame. He seems to just constantly live in Cal's overpowering shadow.
Maven seems so safe. He really seems to understand what it's like to be an outsider in his own home. He listens to Mare. He actively validates her anger. While Cal is busy lecturing her on why the Silvers absolutely have to rule for the greater good, Maven is whispering in her ear, "You're right. This is totally unfair. We should change it."
This dynamic builds a tremendous amount of trust. Mare feels incredibly isolated, surrounded by enemies, and here is a Silver Prince who seems to hate the oppressive system just as much as she does. He becomes her closest ally. They really bond over their shared sense of not belonging. Mare truly thinks she has found a partner in crime.
And while she's navigating this dangerous mix of romance and high-stakes politics, she gets a crucial education from a man named Julian Jacos.
Julian is such a fascinating character in this world. He's the royal tutor, he's Cal's uncle, and he's the brother of the king's first wife, Corianne. He is a singer, meaning he can control people simply with the sound of his voice. But he actively refuses to use his power. He's an intellectual, a historian who values knowledge over force.
And he's the one who finally figures out what Mare actually is. He secretly takes a sample of her blood.
This is where the hard science fiction element really comes into the fantasy. He analyzes her blood under a microscope and finds a genetic mutation. Her blood is red, undeniably red, but it carries a distinct genetic marker that allows for these superhuman abilities. It's strange, it's unprecedented, it's not mystical magic, it is biology, it's genetics.
But here is the absolute kicker. She is not the only one.
Correct. Julian uncovers a hidden list deep in the royal archives, a list of other Reds who have this exact same mutation. This discovery changes the stakes entirely. Mare isn't just a freak accident anymore. She is the harbinger of a brand new species, a forced evolution.
This moves the threat level from, oh, we have a problematic girl to manage, to this is an existential threat to silver supremacy. If Reds can have powers, naturally, the entire biological justification for the caste system just evaporates. It proves the Silvers aren't gods at all. They're just lucky recipients of a dominant gene. And now, the Reds have it too.
Exactly. The Silver's entire claim to absolute power is based on the idea that they're biologically distinct and superior. If that genetic distinction blurs, their moral and legal right to rule collapses overnight.
And while Julian is making these earth-shattering discoveries in the library, Mare is sweating in the training arena. She has to learn to control her lightning so she can pass as a Silver Noble. She's thrown into brutal combat training with the Silver Elite, including her main rival, Evangeline Samos.
Evangeline is vicious. She's a magnetron, meaning she manipulates metal. She can turn a simple silver spoon into a lethal shiv in a split second. And she absolutely hates Mare, because Mare essentially stole the royal spotlight and the royal engagement. Even though Mare is only engaged to the spare prince, Maven, Evangeline craves proximity to power, and she sees Mare as a direct obstacle.
The training scenes are so pivotal because they visually show that Mare's power is fundamentally different from the Silver's. Silver powers are often very disciplined, very elemental. Mare's lightning is chaotic. She creates it from nothing. Most Silvers manipulate what's already there. A magnetron needs existing metal. A nymph needs a pool of water. Mare generates pure energy from within herself. It's raw, it's angry, and it is growing fast.
It perfectly mirrors her internal emotional state. She is suppressed, angry energy just waiting for the right moment to explode.
Which naturally leads us to the boiling point of the story. Section 4. The Rebellion. The Scarlet Guard.
We heard quiet whispers of them earlier in the slums. Their motto is, "We will rise, red as the dawn." They are a militant rebel group fighting for basic red equality. But now they are making serious violent moves. They are bombing military targets. They are violently disrupting the Silver Peace.
And Mare, feeling highly empowered by Maven's unwavering support, decides to cross the line and help them. She connects with the Scarlet Guard. She finds out that their fierce leader, a woman named Farley, is actually in direct contact.
This is a massive crossing of the Rubicon for Mare. She's not just trying to survive the palace anymore. She is actively committing high treason against the crown. She and Maven, let's not forget, a Silver Prince. They secretly help the Guard. They provide high-level intel on royal targets.
There is this massive, chaotic set piece called the Sun Shooting. It's a lavish royal ball, and the Scarlet Guard attacks it, heavily relying on the structural intel Mare and Maven provided. It is pure chaos. Glass shattering, people screaming, blood on the marble.
And this is where the heavy moral complexity hits Mare like a truck. She desperately wanted a revolution, but now she sees the literal bloody cost of it. Innocent people, even young Silvers who never personally hurt her or her family, are getting maimed and killed. She's dining with these people, smiling at them, and then actively plotting their violent destruction in the dark. It weighs on her conscience immensely. She realizes revolution is bloody. It's not just waving flags and giving heroic speeches. It is real bodies falling on the floor.
But the stakes get even higher when she learns the truth about the list. She realizes that if she does nothing, the king and queen will eventually track down all those other mutated Reds, the New Bloods, and systematically slaughter them to protect the throne.
So the mission profile has to shift. It's not just about causing disruption anymore. It's about a full-scale coup. They need to decapitate the royal leadership right now to stop the impending genocide of the New Bloods. Mare, Maven, and the Scarlet Guard hatch a desperate plan to infiltrate the heavily guarded palace at Archia.
The goal is audacious. Take the incredibly powerful king hostage. Force a legal transition of power to Maven. It's incredibly dangerous. They are walking straight into the lion's den with a handful of rebels.
And right in the midst of this terrifying buildup, Mare tries to save Cal. This moment is absolutely crucial to understanding both of them.
Oh, this is the scene that just breaks your heart. She knows the coup is happening tonight. She knows Cal will be caught in the crossfire. She finds him and she practically begs him. She says, choose me, choose a new world. She desperately wants him to defect, to abandon his family and join the revolution.
And Cal, he refuses. And honestly, this is entirely consistent with his character. He is the raised heir. He believes in his heavy duty above all else. He can't just casually overthrow his father and destroy the entire system that he believes holds their fractured country together. He tragically chooses his royal legacy over his very real love for Mare.
He actually arrests them. He drags Mare and Maven straight into the throne room in heavy chains. He thinks he's doing the right thing, the lawful, honorable thing. He's turning in dangerous traitors. He puts his duty before his heart.
And this leads us right into Section 5, the twist, the scene that changes the entire landscape of the series.
We are in the Grand Throne Room. King Tiberius is there. Queen Alara is there, looking cold as ice. Cal brings in Mare and Maven. He's visibly devastated by what he's doing, but he has done his duty.
And then the floor just completely drops out from under the reader. Queen Alara smiles and reveals she knew everything. She knew about the entire rebel plot. She deliberately allowed it to happen to flesh out her hidden enemies.
But that's not even the big twist. The big twist is Maven.
Maven stands up. He steps away from Mare. And the sympathetic facade totally drops. He isn't the neglected, sad, spare prince. He isn't the sympathetic rebel who wanted equality. He is a monster, a flawless, sociopathic masterpiece crafted entirely by his mother, the mind-controlling queen.
He turns to Mare, trembling in chains, and basically laughs at her. He was never, ever on her side. He flawlessly used her to find the hidden leaders of the Scarlet Guard. He used her to identify the new bloods on the list, and most importantly, he used her to utterly destroy Cal's standing with their father.
It is a betrayal of the highest possible order. He weaponized Mare's deepest vulnerabilities, her desperate desire to be understood, her righteous anger at the injustice. He used it all against her. He manipulated her perfectly. There is that chilling line he delivers. I could set this world on fire and call it rain. That is Maven in a nutshell. He is gaslighting personified.
His psychological impact on Mare in this moment is just shattering. She realizes she fell for the completely wrong brother. She blindly trusted the one who smiled and whispered sweet things, while the one who frowned and lectured her was actually the only honest one. Maven played the part of the lonely, sympathetic boy flawlessly because his mother taught him exactly what Mare needed to see.
And somehow, the betrayal gets even worse. Queen Alara finally makes her ultimate move. She uses her terrifying whispering ability to completely seize control of Cal's mind.
This scene is pure horror. Cal is a massively powerful warrior, a master of fire, but he cannot fight a whisper already inside his own head. Alara violently forces Cal. She physically forces his muscles to move, to draw his own sword and step towards his father.
Regicide. The king is killed by his own heir's hand, completely against his heir's will. It is the ultimate inescapable frame-up. The sheer horror of Cal trapped inside his own body, feeling his arms swing the sword, the silver blood pooling on the throne room floor. It's a scene of absolute sickening devastation.
So now, in one fell swoop, Maven is the king. The king is dead, long live King Maven, and he instantly paints Cal and Mare as the treasonous murderers. He turns to the guards and says, look, my jealous brother and this red terrorist devil conspired to kill our beloved father.
It is the perfect, bloodless coup for Maven. He gets the crown he always wanted. He legally eliminates his older rival, Cal. He destroys the inspirational symbol of the rebellion, Mare. And to the outside world, he looks like the tragic, grieving son, bravely stepping up to save his broken kingdom.
So Mare and Cal, the two betrayed souls, are thrown into the bowl of bones. This brings us to Section 6, the resolution. This is their public execution.
The Bowl of Bones is this ancient, brutal arena. They are legally sentenced to die for treason. King Maven and his new betrothed Evangeline are watching smugly from the royal box, gloating over their victory.
And it is not designed to be a fair fight. They are thrown in there with specialized lethal executioners. Rambos, who is a massive strong arm, and Arvin, who is a silence.
Arvin is the critical piece of the puzzle here. A silence is a rare silver who can project a field that suppresses other mutant powers. As long as Arvin is focusing his mind on them, Mary has absolutely no lightning and Cal has no fire. They're just two normal, fleshy teenagers trapped in a sand pit with a giant brute trying to crush their skulls.
This is where Mare's gritty background finally shines. She's a red from the stilts. She knows how to scrape by. She knows how to fight dirty in an alleyway. She quickly realizes they cannot possibly beat the strong arm in hand-to-hand combat, but if they take out the silencer hiding in the back, their elemental powers will come rushing back.
It turns into this desperate, bloody scramble in the sand. Mare fights exactly like a red. She throws dirt in eyes, she bites, she kicks. She uses every single dirty trick she learned surviving on the streets. And through sheer stubborn willpower, she manages to kill Arvin. And the very millisecond his suppressive influence lifts.
Boom! The lightning violently returns, and it is not just a little spark this time. Mare calls down a furious, blinding storm from the sky. She fully embraces it. She is the little lightning girl, completely unleashed. She's not hiding behind the Lady Marina mask anymore. She blasts the arena with everything she has.
And Cal simultaneously becomes a walking inferno. It's an incredible visual. They are fighting back to back in the center of the arena, fire and lightning swirling around them. It is a cinematic, visceral release of all the unbearable tension that is built up over the entire book. Together, they are a devastating, unstoppable team.
But of course, they are still massively outnumbered. They're quickly surrounded by rows of heavily armed royal sentinels. They cannot possibly win this army-level fight alone.
Enter the Scarlet Guard. They strategically blow open the arena gates and rush in to extract them. And amidst the chaos, there is one final staggering miracle for Mare. One of the masked rescuers grabbing her isn't a stranger. It's Shade.
Her brother. The one she thought was dead in the trenches. The one whose memorial earring she literally wears on her ear every day.
He's alive. And he's not just a lucky foot soldier. He is a new blood, too. He is a jumper, which means he can instantly teleport through space. This totally confirms everything Julian found in the blood data. The genetic mutation runs strongly in certain families. Shade teleports into the kill zone, grabs Mare and Cal, and jumps them out of the arena right before the Sentinels close in.
They narrowly escape via the subterranean train network, the Undertrain. And that breathless escape leads us to the aftermath. Mare and Cal are now officially the most wanted fugitives in the country.
The character dynamic has completely, totally inverted from where we started. In the opening chapters, Cal was the untouchable prince high on a pedestal, and Mare was the invisible thief in the mud. Now, Mare is the legendary face of the revolution. She is the icon. But Cal is the fallen prince, the disgraced king killer. He has absolutely nothing left. He is violently reviled by his own silver people, and he is deeply distrusted by the Reds he's surrounded by.
He is drowning in grief. He's in deep shock over killing his father, and he is just furious. The only thing tethering Mare and Cal together right now in that dark train car is a shared, burning hatred for a common enemy, Maven.
Mare looks at Cal and realizes the sweet boy she thought she knew in Maven is gone. Or, more accurately, he never actually existed. It was always a mask. She forcefully hardens her heart in that moment. She says, I will kill him. It is a very dark, sharp turn for her character arc. She is no longer just a desperate girl trying to survive and feed her family. She is a soldier out for blood vengeance.
And the entire scope of the story expands dramatically as the train rolls on. It's not just about saving Killorn from conscription anymore. It's not even just about helping the Scarlet Guard blow up a building. It's about the New Bloods.
Right. The verified discovery that there are many more red-silver hybrids out there hiding in the slums changes the nature of the war entirely. It is no longer a simple binary conflict. It's not just red versus silver anymore. It is a complex war for the biological future of humanity, centered entirely on this new emerging evolution. Mare and Cal know they have to find and recruit these new bloods before King Maven finds them and slaughters them all.
So let's pull back and wrap this all up for you. What does this massive journey actually mean? We started with a girl stealing coins to save one friend, and we ended with a lightning-wielding icon igniting a global revolution.
I think the core journey here is really about the violent loss of innocence. Mare starts as a localized survivor, entirely focused on the immediate physical needs of her family. She ends the book as a hardened leader, heavily burdened with the grim knowledge that real power always requires terrible sacrifice.
And trust. Wow. If there is one thing this book hammers home, it's that trust is a luxury that can get you killed.
It absolutely is. I think the most provocative insight here is about the true nature of power in this society. It wasn't actually the lightning itself that made Mare so dangerous to the Silver Elite. It was her mere existence. She bridged the unbridgeable gap. She mathematically proved that the Silver Gods weren't divine, that their power wasn't a mandated right, it was just blind genetics. And genetics can mutate. genetics can change.
She broke the biological certainty we talked about right at the very beginning of the show. She proved the blood divide was a lie.
Exactly. The foundation is cracked, and the whole house is coming down.
And I really want to leave you, our listeners, with this lingering thought about our villain, Maven. We see him clearly at the end as the ultimate cold-blooded betrayer. But was he actually born a monster? Or was he systematically made into one by a whisper mother who could literally reach inside his growing brain and twist his very soul into whatever shape she needed?
That really is the ultimate tragedy of Maven's character. We may never actually know where the mother's ambition ends and the son's true personality begins. Is a monster born in the blood, or is a monster made in the mind?
And in a ruthless world where anyone can betray anyone, is trust the greatest, most foolish weakness you can have? Or is it literally the only hope we have left to build something better?
That is the incredibly heavy question Mare is going to have to answer in the brutal wars to come.
If you haven't read Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, go pick it up right now. The visceral descriptions of the elemental powers, the tense internal monologue, the sheer adrenaline of the betrayals, it's absolutely worth the read. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Until next time.